All right, Ohio State, Michigan State, our final game for this week's edition of Hitting the Books. Ohio State, 25-point road favorites, 49 the total here in this game. He covered, and they covered Michigan State last week, even though they let it slip away with a game-winning touchdown by Boston College late in the fourth quarter. Boston College wins, but Michigan State ends up getting the cover last week at Chestnut Hill in a tough loss to Boston College, 23-19, but they do get the money. They're now 2-0 against the spread as underdogs, and that's not a surprise. If anyone knows anything about Jonathan Smith, he's been a very good underdog head coach. You go back and look at Oregon State all those years. They were often a pretty solid underdog. I'm actually kind of mildly tempted to take Michigan State. Now, I know Ohio State, they're ramping it into high gear, again, but again, they faced nobody. They played Akron. They've played Western Michigan. They've played Marshall. And even the Marshall game, they didn't cover. They were 40-point favorites. They won by 35. They were down 7-0 halfway through the first quarter. Marshall actually got the first points of that game with a nice touchdown drive. Now they're laying 25 on the road, first road game of the year. Now, granted, they're a much better team than Michigan State, but that's a lot of points. First road game. There's a scrappy, feisty Michigan State team, a coach that's very good catching points as an underdog, and Jonathan Smith. I'm interested. Now, Aiden Childs can't throw multiple interceptions like he did against Boston College, or else they're going to get just destroyed in this game. That is suicide when you're playing Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith, the receiver, the Henderson, the running back, and this loaded offense of Ohio State. You can't give this team the ball in good field position with turnovers. You've got to fucking fix that and rein that shit in if you're Aiden Childs. But if you can do that here at home, I think it's a lot of points to be given this Michigan State bunch, especially for an Ohio State team that A, has played nobody, and B, is now playing their first road game of the year. And by the way, they have Iowa at home next week after this game, which is a much bigger game for them. So I'm kind of leaning Michigan State here, but I am worried about the Child's mistakes and interceptions. He does that. This could get away from Michigan State. C-Mac, what do you think here? Buckeyes, Spartans.
Yeah, Marshall, even Earl, who I was ripping on, he was great, but he was like 16 of 22. I mean, he still only had 130-something yards, but they scored right away, did Marshall, and they got another. I want to take Michigan State in this one. Last week, I really thought about it, and I stayed off in the end. But Childs, that's what I was going to talk about. I mean, he can't do that here. He just can't do it. And this is a little bit get in there, I think, get a win for Ohio State. They have the weapons. And I'd like to see, once the competition a little bit more, Howard, because he's good, but I don't think he's great. So I think he turnover too, or he gets shooken a little. That's why I love these points with Michigan State. I have to take it, and they gotta, Kim, that kicker, he can drill some long field goals. So maybe they get some points that way. And I think at over the 24 here, which you're getting 25, yeah, I'm on it.
All right. It sounds like a C-Mac liking the Spartans here a little bit at this number. So we'll see how it plays out in this one with the Ohio.
And again, Smith, such a difference too. I mean, like he's already they were competitive against Maryland. We didn't know what we were going to really get for Michigan State after the last couple of years and the whole program, everything that's gone on. It just shows, man. When great coaches go places, like it really shows.
Just like we're seeing so many different areas, when you just make that good coaching hire, you can kind of exceed it. Look at Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. You just make the right hire and look at the difference it makes when you got a guy that knows what he's doing. And look at how he built Oregon State from the ground up and made them a great program, top of the upper echelon Pac-12 program. Nobody thought it was possible. He did it. He'll get Michigan State back up to being contenders in the Big Ten. I don't know if Michigan State will get enough players away from Ohio State, Michigan, and some of these other schools to win the Big Ten, but they're going to be in the mix in a couple of years if they keep Jonathan Smith there. He will. Yeah. He will make them an upper echelon Big Ten program again. Now, I want to point out one thing before we wrap this game up in the show. You're going to see that Ohio State has beaten Michigan State 8 straight times, 7-1 against the spread in those games as well. They have been destroyed repeatedly Michigan State by Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
But those were all Mark D'Antonio, Mel Tucker years as head coach at Michigan State. Now it's Jonathan Smith. To Connor Mack's point, this is a much better coach team now. So be careful with that. Just because, Ohio State's covered 7 straight and they've won 8 straight against Michigan State doesn't mean it's going to happen again this year. There's a new coach now and a hell of a lot better coach, and especially compared to Mel Tucker. It's not even an argument how much better Jonathan Smith is. So keep an eye. It should be interesting, but I think, I'm interested in the big underdog there in that game. And we hope you have another great week and enjoy the college football games this upcoming week. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it, whether it's been on YouTube, Twitter, X, or Facebook. We appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out. Enjoy the games and good luck this weekend in college football as Week 5 approaches. Cash some tickets, and we will be back with you again next Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, for another edition of Hitting the Books, College Football Betting Show, Class Dismissed.